Argentine tango has a rich history of culture, music, and dance styles. It started in the 1870s in Buenos Aires, Argentina, when dances and songs and rhythms from many different origins came and merged together. The Cuban seamen brought the habanera, which is a slower 2/4 dance, and improvisational guitar music from the gauchos, which became the milonga dance style and is still considered to be the earliest form of tango. There are also influences from African pulsed rhythms of the candombes, as well as Spain and many instruments from Italy. Most immigrants to Argentina were men, and therefore some of the original forms of the dance were danced solo with showy improvisational movements. At the beginning, tango was only danced in the brothels, and it took many years for it to be accepted. The dance eventually made its way to Paris, and it became very popular in 1913 and 14. And with it came styles of clothing and new dance venues. Argentine tango is a great dance to use for working on balance. The basic step is a forward walking step, landing on the heels and rolling through the toes. The hips stay underneath you, and as you reach back to go backwards, you reach with your toe. Let's talk through some of the basic steps of the tango. Remember as you work on the movements that you don't have to get them perfect. The goal is to challenge your balance and have fun. Find something to hold on to if you need to. And remember that the nice thing about Argentine tango is it does have some signature type of movements, such as the 8-count basic, which I'll show here. But it's an improvisational dance, so it's perfectly fine to just pause and take a few breaths or do a few weight shifts as you're thinking about the next step that you might want to do. First, practice listening to the music and just moving around the room. See if you can hear the 8-count phrases of the music. Land on the heel, roll through the toe, and your steps can be whatever length feels comfortable. You can think about moving the opposite arm as you're stepping forward. You can then add pauses, stepping 1, 2, 3, 4, pause, pause, for example. 1, 2, 3, 4, pause, pause. 1, 2, 3, 4, pause, pause. You can pause for any length of time. In this case, pausing for a count of 4 will complete the 8-count phrase. If you feel comfortable with your balance, as you pause, you can do movement with the free leg. For example, a circle, or a movement out to the side. You can be very playful with this movement, and it's a good way to practice balance over a single leg. This might be also something that you practice on your own, just holding on to a counter. Then you can practice starting with the other foot. Here I started stepping with my right foot instead of my left, so that when I pause this time after 4 steps, my right foot is free and I can do some circles with that foot. Pause, pause. 1, 2, 3, 4, and pause, pause. 1, 2, 3, 4, pause, pause. Don't feel obliged to do fancy movements with the free foot. It is perfectly fine to slowly bring it together next to the other foot and just take a nice relaxed breath. One, 2, 3, 4, pause, pause. 1, 2, 3, 4, pause, pause. Make sure if you're using a small space like I'm demonstrating here, where I have to do some turns, that you don't get dizzy as you move. I also pause for 4 counts rather than 2 to complete the 8-count phrase. Next, we'll work on side steps, taking a relaxed breath in when you step to one side and out as you step to the other. Reach as far as you'd like to and feel comfortable, stepping from one side to the next. You can allow a little bend in your knees as you step to one side and then the other. Remember to keep your hips underneath you. Then we can practice taking forward and backward steps. Same thing, see if you can time your breathing with your movement. Breathing in and out as you step back. You can practice stepping forward with the left foot or stepping forward with the right foot. If you feel comfortable, you can practice a series of forward and back steps. This can be something to do along the kitchen counter because you may not be used to taking a series of back steps and may be surprised that this is challenging for your balance. Reach back with the toe and shift your weight. You can allow your arms to move if you feel comfortable, or touch the wall or counter for support. One, two, three, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now we will learn a step sequence called the 8-count basic, starting with the leads dance steps. In this position, you start with your weight on your left foot, and the first step is a back step with the right. Traditionally, this step is done quite small to make sure that you don't end up stepping backwards onto someone's foot. I will show this dance sequence several times so you have a chance to practice and you can see it at different view angles. Also, because you are stepping slower through the dance movements, you may find that you need to hold on to support for your balance. Start with your weight on your left foot, step back with your right, side with the left, 2 forward steps right, left, and together weight shift onto your right, forward with the left, side, and together and weight shift onto the left. Again, back, side, forward, forward, weight shift onto the right, forward with the left, side, together with a weight shift. Now from the back view, back with the right, side, forward, forward, together with a weight shift, forward, side, together. Back, side, forward, forward, together with a weight shift, forward with the left, side, together. Back, side, forward, forward, together, and a weight shift, forward, side, and together with a weight shift left, so that your right foot is free for the next step. The forward side together with a weight shift is sometimes called the resolution step for the leads. This is done after a sequence of movements that is either the 8-count basic or can be something else. It's a way then for the lead to pause and take a few breaths and to consider what movement pattern he or she would like to lead next. Now we'll look at the 8-count basic for the follows. This is almost a mirror position, except that there is a cross step called the cruzada that is done halfway through the sequence. This is a great thing to practice for balance in the situations where we may get our feet tangled up together and we have to figure out how to untangle them. When you're practicing this, however, it's good to practice the cruzada on its own several times in a row, going in and out of it, so that you get familiar with the movement, and then practice it within the sequence of the 8 count. Realize that it might be a good idea to hold onto a support surface the first time you're doing it, particularly if you're dancing the steps very slowly, as the slower you step, the longer you have to stand on one leg for support. As you see here, I'm stepping back with my right foot and crossing my left over my right and shifting weight onto my left foot. You'll notice as I'm doing the cross step that I do a clockwise and then counterclockwise rotation of my trunk. Don't worry about this too much unless you feel very, very comfortable with the cross step. The rotation of my trunk actually helps to cross one foot over the other. When you are dancing this in partnership, the rotation is actually what leads the cross step, but when you're dancing on your own, it just makes it look a little prettier, but is not necessary. It can help to keep your knees bent in order to get your feet right up next to each other for the cross step. If you're finding this is too difficult for your balance or bothers your knees, then you can simply bring your feet up next to each other and shift your weight onto your left foot so that your right foot is free. Now let's look at the entire sequence of the 8 count basic for the follows. In this case, my weight is on my right foot and my left foot is free. I take a forward step with my left, a side step with my right, 2 back steps, left and right. I cross my left foot over my right with a weight shift onto my left, step back with my right, a side, and together with a weight shift onto my right foot so that my left foot is free. From the side, I step forward with my left, side with my right, back, back, and cross, back with the right, and side together with a weight shift. Forward with the left, side, back left, back right, cross with a weight shift left, back with the right, and side together with a weight shift. Forward, side, back, back, cross, back with the right, side, together. Forward, side, back, back, cross, and a back, side, together with a weight shift onto the right leg so that the left leg is free. The back side together is considered to be the resolution step for the follow. This is an opportunity to pause for a moment and consider what steps you want to do next. If you are in a couple and being led across the dance floor, it's the chance for the lead to think about how to move around the floor without getting in the way of others and what fancy move they would like to do next. As a reminder, though, the beauty of Argentine Tango is it truly is an improvisational dance. You can pause and take a break at any point. There are also many ideas of ways to adapt tango to a seated position. Working on opposite arm and leg movement is a great way to work on coordination and core strength. It's also how we naturally move when we walk. Then you can practice stepping to the beat, stepping every other beat, practicing stepping to the side and touching with the opposite foot and returning. Stepping forward and back. Then you can practice doing movements of the free foot in a circle, or perhaps have the person spell out their name on the floor. They can get creative. This is a great way to work on coordination, leg, and core strength. Here's an example of taking some of the dance moves that you just learned and putting them together over again into sequences. And put pauses in between until you really get used to doing those certain steps. Then you can start adding in additional steps that you learned individually earlier in the lesson. This is part of improving your ability to dual task think about the steps and keep your balance at the same time. This should carry over in everyday life